In 1927, the Hospital for Sick Children built a convalescent site for those with chronic illnesses such as polio and tuberculosis. With over 90 acres of land, Thistletown Hospital was 5 miles away from the nearest community dwellings. By 1957, it had fallen into disuse. That year, psychiatrist Dr. John Rich gave the Ontario government a plan to develop the province's capacity to treat emotionally disturbed children. Purchasing Thistletown Hospital was part of his plan. After some public pressure, the government agreed. According to Dr. Rich, things were in chaos during the first year. New staff were being hired. New ideas in treatment were being tried.
I started here in 1958. It was a crazy, mixed-up place. Not very many of the staff knew how to conduct themselves. And so it was extremely difficult. The children were more or less in charge.
In that seeming chaos, creativity and innovation flourished.
I mean, psychiatrists are usually well behaved, but John Rich, very noisy, gregarious kind of person, able to set everything on fire, really and truly, and to enthuse. The programs that commenced were absolutely fantastic. There was a wood workshop where children made things with their hands. There was a dance therapist who taught music and how to play art. And there was a vigorous recreation program. We had a brand new swimming pool, a gymnasium. The system made sure there were people in charge of these areas to make them therapeutic and to adequately train staff to work in these program areas.
Frontline staff were called childcare workers. Thistletown Hospital started the first school of childcare work in 1965.
It really was an in-service training program where you had the opportunity to have the theory. You went to class 1 day a week, and then you would go back to your unit for the other 4 days a week and actually get the opportunity to start to apply some of that stuff.
At that time, the controversial Warrendale Centre for Emotionally Disturbed Children and its group home approach had a direct impact on Thistletown Hospital.
In the fall of '66, Thistletown incorporated Warrendale. And Thistletown, at that point, was set up as units. There were 4 residential big units in the big main building. Warrendale was set up as 6 group homes. And so it had been established as trying to create a more home-like environment.
One of the superintendents of the facility, Dr. John Atchison, he really felt that trying to treat this kind of child in the main building was not all that appropriate. So he must have influenced a lot of people, and eventually money was found to build 10 houses, and children moved out of this building into homes in 1972.
So I got to that task of making a diagnosis of the children and putting them together in a one house of the same kind of problem, and then developing a orientation of the program, how it is going to be treated, what approach we are going to use, and then appointing a program director for that house.
Around 1974, Ross Finlater, who was a social worker here at that point, he believed that there was a place for day treatment. I was lucky enough to be the child care supervisor, and so worked closely with Ross as we created that program. And that was a really exciting time because we were creating something that at least here at Thistletown had not existed.
Adding outpatient treatment in the 1970s led to a new way of doing business in the 1980s.
Yeah, in the 70s it was the classic inpatient, outpatient dichotomy. So you had inpatient programs working independently and outpatient programs working independently. People who were responsible for running programs were beholden to the chiefs of all the disciplines, and it was the chiefs of all the disciplines that held the budget, supervised the people, all of that sort of stuff. One of the first things on my agenda in 1980 when I came to Thistletown was to set up programs. I engaged in a consultative process with the staff of the center, and we ended up with very much the program configuration that continues to today.
4 programs were begun in the early and mid-1980s. TRE-ADD, Interface, Adolescent Services, and Safety. For the next 10 years, these programs evolved and matured. Then, in January 1995, with little warning, the government announced the closure of Thistletown.
I wasn't regional director at the time, but I was a project manager asked to lead the closure. The decision wasn't based on the quality of the services at Thistletown, but rather on a fundamental belief that children's services in Ontario should be delivered solely by community-based agencies. No one could have anticipated the enormous public and media reaction that followed the announcement. A small group of families mounted an incredibly aggressive lobby campaign that caught the attention of the public and the media. This group of families believed their children would not be well served if they were transferred to community-based agencies.
And what remains remarkable to me today in thinking about those days is the incredible sense of commitment that staff had toward their clients. Staff working on the front lines and managers responsible for the ongoing delivery of service at the time had an incredibly tough job to do and need to feel extremely proud of the job they did under such challenging circumstances.
The Premier at the time, Bob Rae, called an election later that year, and at the beginning of the campaign announced a moratorium on the closure pending a full review. As we know now, the next government decided to leave Thistletown open.
It took some time to recover, as you might imagine, and I know some staff may still carry wounds from the uncertainty that was created at the time, but to its credit, Thistletown embarked on a period of intense revitalization, focusing on building partnerships in the community and on improving and strengthening the programs serving some of the most troubled youth across the province. I'm very proud to have been a part of that important time in Thistletown's history.
As of 2007, Thistletown Regional Centre has 300 full and part-time staff and serves about 1,400 children and families on an annual basis. The 4 programs, begun in the 1980s, are thriving and continuing to innovate.
TRE-ADD is a clinical program of Thistletown Regional Centre that focuses its service on children and youth with autism and their families. We also provide services to agencies and other professionals outside in the community, all of it with the intent, the goal of both increasing the ability of our clients to function in the community, as well as increase the ability of the parents and other caregivers to enhance their ability to manage those clients better. We have day treatment programs, 7 classrooms. We have 3 residential houses 24/7. We have a parent relief unit 5 days a week, 11 months a year. We have a family services component of the program 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. One of the wonderful parts of my staff has to do with their ability, their incredible ability to slow down their thinking and lower their expectations from what otherwise we will want to see happening, to a point where they realize that little steps is what makes it happen, and they may take a long time to move from step 1 to step 2, but if they pay attention, if we all pay attention, we realize that the step has been gained.
It's always felt like family to me in a way. There's a lot of support in doing the work that we do.
I like the fact that I'm given the opportunity to connect with the community and work with others who also service children with autism.
I think the best thing about working here would probably be the atmosphere. It's a very positive atmosphere. Makes you want to come into work every day.
Even though there are moments that you just wish that you could pack up and leave forever, you still have the staff there to bring you back, to make you feel good, to make you feel like you've got a purpose. That's all you can ask for in life, is to have a job with a purpose. And I think we all have a purpose here.
Interface, which actually stands for Integrated Resources for Families, Assessment, Consultation, and Education, is a program that provides specialized assessment, consultation, and treatment to children and families who come with really significant and complex needs. I think that's probably one of the key pieces about this program, is that we are systemic in nature. We like to build on the strengths and work from a competency base when working with families, and we work integrated with our community partners. We're excited at this point in time. We have an outcome report of our developmental evaluation and resource clinic. It's a program evaluation that really highlights the good work that this program has been doing for 25 years.
To see a child smile, to hear a family say something like, "That was very good advice, I really followed it and things worked out well," those things make my day.
I'm capable of having conversations with him without setting off a temper tantrum.
Both of us learned that there's certain little tricks or tools that they've taught us that we could sit down and discuss something, and if it is going to get one of us angry, how to pull back and say, well, let's stop, let's carry it on, later, or take 10-minute break or whatever, or change the subject where we can calm down and then come back to it and discuss it like two adults.
At Interface, I think, unlike other agencies I've served with, we share families. We don't pretend to own them.
It's a service for youth from 13 to 21 years of age, and it's comprised of a residential program and 3 day treatment programs. 3 of the programs are provided right here on the Thistletown campus, and one of them takes place in a community school. In the past, treatment was seen as something you did to people, and very much now it's a focus on doing things with people. Because the jobs are fairly complex, because you're dealing with challenging clients, it's important that we keep everything fresh. So we do training on a regular basis, on an annual basis, but it was really exciting this year because we had the opportunity to offer training in what's called cognitive behavioral therapy, known as CBT. And it was really exciting because we offered it to the entire adolescent services program. We are fortunate to have a great group of staff, many of whom who've been working in the program for a number of years. So we have the benefit of that experience. We have the benefit of their history with the organization.
The challenge of putting together a treatment team and a treatment program based on a common understanding has given us a chance to work with frontline workers and bring their work in and align it with the family work so that there's a total integrated approach to the treatment that we're providing for these young people.
And I know here we're really trying to meet the needs of all our clients on various levels, not just socially. You're looking at emotionally, culturally, racially. And I think that's such an important piece of the work that we do.
I like to meet the clients on a first name basis, and the fact that they can call me Cecile, it sort of gives me that connection and that sort of personal connection. And the fact that they can come to the office and connect the office with the classroom, it's also a very good skill for them.
A young man, 13 years of age, long background of some hostility in the family, aggression, a lot of familial issues going on. And our last meeting with that family was the transition meeting with the school board that he was going to be going to in Simcoe County. And the father, who had a lot of issues with our program and a lot of concerns about what was going on for his son over the first year or so, looked at me, broke down and cried, and said, if it wasn't for this man and his staff and that program, my son would not be where he is today.
SAFETY stands for Sexual Abuse, Family Education and Treatment. We are a comprehensive, specialized program for children and youth who've been sexually abused within their families, children under 12 with sexual behavior problems, and youth who've committed sexual offenses. We began in the early 80s as a pilot project of adolescent services. In late 1987, we began a project with the Youth Justice Services, Probation Services in Toronto. And that allowed us to develop an expertise and work with youth who'd sexually offended. Many of our children have incredible strengths. The sexual abuse does not define who they are as people. When children or parents come to this program, they're really nervous and anxious. And so we've really tried to make it homey, warm, supportive. The expressive arts room is a room just for that.
What kind of ingredients are important for growth to occur?
Okay, like water and stuff?
That's a great idea. Right? That's a great idea.
The play therapy room is in the basement. There are puppets, a dollhouse, a kitchen set. This is an opportunity for children to be able to talk about their issues, but also play out and act out some of their feelings and concerns.
I'll have a family phone me very early in regards to the issues happening in that family. And they will be very upset, very frustrated with the system, feeling very lost and not having anyone to turn to. And often I'll spend quite a bit of time with them on the phone. And when I get off the phone, they'll often say, thanks, you've kind of helped me see the way through this. And I have a feeling like I've instilled a little bit of hope in a situation that earlier in the day was very hopeless for them.
What really keeps me going is the strength that I see in each individual child, family, and their ability to begin that process and own their own strength, and when they're able to see the strength that I saw in them.
In 1998, we completed a 10-year follow-up study of treatment for adolescents who've committed sexual offenses. We looked at police records for criminal reoffense, and we found that there was a significant reduction in sexual offense recidivism for adolescents who were treated here versus adolescents in a comparison group. As a matter of fact, it was about a 72% reduction in reoffense rates, which is significant.
I forget now how we were introduced to safety, but it has been and it continues to be the best support place I could ever have known, offering a window through which we can see a possible future that is better than the now. The staff there have been the best. They have listened and offered assistance in so many ways and on so many levels. Even they surely don't know the depth of their kindness and support.
The people who work in our support services really are the wind beneath the wings of the clinical operations. I'd like to recognize and thank the people who work in those areas. Administration keeps us organized and on track. Human resources guides and assists. The business unit assures financial accountability. Research and evaluation stimulates continuous improvement. Reception connects visitors with our staff. Clinical records supports our flow of communication. Transportation drives and supports clients en route to sessions and clinical outings. IT keeps us connected electronically. Housekeeping keeps clients' homes and our buildings spick and span. Maintenance builds, paints, creates, and repairs our numerous buildings. Project management drives center-wide initiatives.
We are pleased to support the clients and staff of Thistletown Regional Centre. Happy anniversary! Here's to another 50 great years!
As Regional Director, I'm proud to say Thistletown has become a center of excellence, working with other community stakeholders to serve some of the most challenging youth in this province. Thistletown has become a leader in innovation and in promoting best practices. Staff have received much deserved recognition for their dedication and their commitment to client service. I am delighted to offer my congratulations to all the current and former staff of Thistletown on the 50th anniversary.
As this video illustrates, the center's history is rich, and many professionals in the province have either trained or have worked at Thistletown. Staff continue to provide important and necessary clinical services. And they're engaged in research and evaluation that is international. I am proud and thankful for the dedication of the staff and wish them continued success and development in the years to come.
The children and families we serve deal with big challenges, and life for them isn't always easy. The staff that come here to work with them and support them experience that firsthand. It takes special people to do this work day in and day out with energy and enthusiasm. Thistletown Regional Centre has come a long way since 1957, and I can see a bright future, one in which we continue to build on our roots, act on the lessons we learn, from our own research and evaluation, as well as that of others in the field of children's mental health and developmental services. As an organization, we've been actively preparing for accreditation with Children's Mental Health Ontario. This process is already strengthening our centre and building on our foundation of excellence. But the real key to our future success will continue to be what's made us successful in the past: our caring, creative, and dedicated staff who pull together in the best interests of the children, youth, and families we're here to serve.